think it's recording now. Yeah, time zones. Time is so weird. I remember, I don't know if it's Bodhidharma or some Zen dude saying time is an illusion. It's true though. It's like, it's such a weird conceptual thing, you know? Time. And I think I heard Dhammarato say that's why the Buddha would talk about the middle way, like not the past or the future, but the present, so to speak, something like that. So yeah, we're just chilling. If you guys have anything you want to talk about, feel free. Whatever's on your mind and hearts, now's the time to let it out. No pressure though. It's up to you guys.
I normally have lots of questions. I can't think of any right now. That's good. I've listened to a lot of Dhammarato's stuff, and I've met him a couple of times, and I've joined on a Sunday. And I've also listened to some of your recordings as well, and I really enjoyed just a chance to sort of disconnect from work life and sort of connect to the Dharma. So dude. I can't think of any specific questions.
That's good. And that's sometimes is the case. Sometimes there is no questions, which is wonderful because it's good indication that there's not much dukkha going on. How about you, buddy? Anything to say? Anything at all?
It's like mostly like the reason why I'm here is like I've listened to a few of Dhammarato's talks and on Guru Viking, and like I like to think that I've lived quite a while, and I'll be 54 shortly, and probably like I would say 85% of what Dhammarato says resonates with my life experience, and it makes sense to me. It resonates with me. So like I've been everywhere, practiced everything, had all sorts of experiences, and at the end, what it says like satisfaction, like being content with the present moment. It's what matters, really. Yeah.
Maybe I have thought of a question, Dhammadasa. I mean, I'd just be curious. I've really enjoyed listening to some of the stuff you've shared so far. Like just.
Oh, thanks, dude.
But, yeah. What's your? I'd love to know your story a little bit. If that's like, how did you? And so maybe that's one. So I do have questions, and maybe the other question is just I've noticed that since I've discovered the teachings of these early Buddhist teachings, but through as shared by Dhammarato, I've actually reduced the amount of time I'm meditating, but I feel like it's a better quality meditation. But I now almost wonder if I've gone too far the other way, where I'm actually not meditating enough now, having previously been putting in like well over an hour a day. So just curious to get your thoughts on that, and maybe I'd love to know a bit about your story, and how how these teachings have, affected you, and what your practice is like. I don't know if that's something you're able to share, but I'd be interested to know a bit about that, if possible.
Oh yeah. It's not anything special, really. I stumbled across a book when I was around 17, or had an idea of what Buddhism was, and always would see those chunky laughing Buddhas, and I always felt drawn to them. Like, that's so cool, like just a chill guy who lived a long time ago, who just wasn't really up anybody's ass with trying to convince them about this or that, like other religions. He just seemed like genuinely somebody who was trying to do good. So I just came to a book by Noah Levine, a really great Buddhist teacher, and it was called Dhamma Punks or Dharma Punks. And it was about his struggles with addiction and being a angsty youth, and how he used Buddhism that he learned to kind of survive his chaotic upbringing in youth. And his father was actually a pretty prominent Buddhist teacher. I forget who his name was though. But yeah, I just heard of it in a book, and then I heard of Ramana Maharshi in Advaita Vedanta in the same book. So as soon as I read that book, I pursued all the paths of everything I loved: Advaita Vedanta, Hindu saints, Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, Taoism, philosophers, both East and West. And long story short, I just love reading, and I've suffered a lot in my life, so I always was looking for an escape, like I would imagine a lot of us are. A lot of people who come to Buddhism aren't necessarily like coming to Buddhism because they're happy already. It's usually because we're miserable wretches, and that's what I was. And sometimes, some days I still feel like a bit of a wretch, but it's definitely made me feel so much better these days, and to able to deal with so much. Just such a That's why I like to tell a lot of people it's like a science, especially the Noble Eightfold Path and the Four Noble Truths as well. It's like these these sufferings, these dissatisfactions, they really are brought on by wanting what we don't have. And when we give up all that bullshit, then you feel lighter. You feel like you put down a bag of bricks. And that's always been my agenda. Back is hurting. Got her. Oh, your back hurts? Oh, feel better, buddy. Oh, bye, bud. Got to put down those bricks we were talking about. Well, yeah, man. And that's basically it. Nothing special. Just interested in mental health and well-being, and just want to find some peace in life. And what was your other question about Buddhism?
Just about how I'd love to know what your practice is like daily practice. I've noticed my meditation time gone down a lot, and I don't know, down a bit too much.
Yeah, you were mentioning your meditation. My daily practice is I don't have a real set time where I sit down and meditate. I used to, and I think it's good at the beginning, or even if people just want to do that, set aside some time for sitting meditation. There's nothing wrong with that. And the Buddha even recommends it for beginners or anybody who just enjoys it, But that's a bit formal. It's a sitting meditation is almost like going to play basketball or baseball. It's like something you do that has a purpose and a goal attached to it. It's kind of some, so to speak, But I would tell people, rather, don't look at your meditation as separate from anything else in your daily life. Whether it's breathing, walking, talking, smoking, sports, exercise, or just plain sitting doing nothing. Meditation's a lifestyle that should always be practiced throughout our day. And then, yes, sitting meditation can be differentiated in the fact that you are sitting, but it's not much different than anything else. It's not. I don't even like to call it meditation, really. It's just the Noble Eightfold Path of gladdening the mind here and now. So I'm always just I'm always looking at myself, and if I feel I'm desiring something that's causing me suffering, and people like to distinguish between what's a good desire and a bad desire. It's just a negative attachment that causes dukkha or suffering. That's all it is. It's nothing too complicated. But if I find, but the only complicated thing about it is it can be tricky. Like even the desire of wanting enlightenment or wanting to be a really good Theravada student can be good at the beginning, but then sometimes it could get mixed with arrogance, status, control, all these things, anger. So you have to be on the lookout. But my daily practice, if I just see anything that's dissatisfying me, which is not too hard to do, it's pretty easy. I'll just look at myself and be like, how are you feeling? Oh, I feel pretty good. okay, no problem. And then that's why I like to say suffering can be our best teacher. It can also be your worst enemy if you let it. But suffering can be your best teacher in the sense that it's like those bells at the Zen center or a zendo or a temple. They ring the bells throughout the day to kind of bring us back to the breath, bring us back to the moment. So if we get used to having our dissatisfaction become like those bells, we recognize it as, oh, here's my favorite teacher. I feel like shit. Time to change. And then we change it ourselves with nurturing, wholesome speech, thoughts, feelings, emotions, actions. And then you feel a lot better. And you get to certain points where you're like, wow, I really can. Dhammarato always says it, but when you feel it for yourself, when you see clearly that you could have took a path that feels like shit that you've done 1,000 times, and then when you make the shift, and then you say, wait, I don't want to feel like shit. That doesn't do me or anybody any good. Like, for instance, if somebody's talking shit about you, saying bad things about you, how many times have we all, with our insecurities, spiraled down the path of, poor me, nobody likes me, I'm a victim, maybe they're right, maybe I am this, maybe I am a loser, maybe I am. But through the Noble Eightfold Path, we recognize the dukkha that arises, oh, somebody's talking bad about me. And then we go, wait a minute, I've been down this road enough that I know it's bullshit. So let's try this Noble Eightfold Path that we haven't really tried out. And then we try that and say, oh, I love when people talk shit about me. It has nothing to do with me. It's all their own projections of insecurities. I'm fine. And yeah, I made some mistakes in my life because I'm a human. I'm alive. There's no person alive who hasn't made mistakes. So they could all go fuck themselves. And then I come back to the breath and I feel so much better. I'm like, wow, I just did that. I know I would have gone to the suffering dukkha realm if I went that way, but I chose the correct path, the Noble Eightfold Path, and it's made all the difference, like Robert Frost says. You know? And so look at your meditation, I would say more of a lifestyle change, more of like a lifestyle way to be than something that will give you some goal at some point. Because the best part about the Dhamma is it's the only thing you'll find in life, like Frank Zappa said about music. It's the only thing in life that delivers the goods now. Not something, oh, I can't wait till I'm an enlightened master. I can't wait till I'm a good Dhamma teacher. I can't wait to feel better. I can't wait to find ultimate peace and bliss. There's no waiting. It's here now when we give up all that other bullshit. Hi, buddy. Welcome, dude.
Thank you.
Skype isn't really good at letting me see people's names, so forgive me. Alex. Okay, I'm horrible at people's names, so I'll forget a million times.
Me too.
Just to let you know. Good. I won't get offended if people forget my name, and hopefully they won't get offended if I forget theirs too.
I will call you the wise wizard.
The wise wizard. Hey, yeah, whatever floats your boat, man. Whatever floats your boat. Wisdom, but it's not a wisdom I have because I have this hidden thing, or I don't put wisdom on a pedestal too much. It's common sense that we all have the ability to cultivate.
It's just you look like a character from a fantasy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I do. But that is a good point though about wisdom. It's really important that we take enlightenment, wisdom, the Noble Eightfold Path, the Four Noble Truths, and take them off of their pedestal that the Western, particularly the Western mindset has brainwashed into believing that, no, Buddha is something out there. Enlightenment's something out there. The golden carrot, the money, oh, that's all out there. Fuck money, fuck all that enlightenment. Truth is here with our breathing. Truth is away from these mental constructs that are just confusing everybody and causing a lot of pain, suffering, dukkha, dissatisfaction. And it's not necessary. Nobody's putting a gun to our head saying, you must feel this way about this event that took place in your life. You must look at your childhood and replay it in your head. Nobody's doing that. We do it to ourselves. So it's good to let that stuff go. and get in the mindset of meditation is not only where we put aside time to meditate. Meditation is a lifestyle. It's not really meditation. It's sati. It's the Noble Eightfold Path. It's gladdening the mind here and now. Can we be satisfied here and now is the true meditation. And it can be sometimes perceived as difficult to grasp because it is about letting go of these future plans, these future goals, or these past disappointments. And we've been doing that our whole life. So it can, at first, may seem a little difficult to let go of all those things, but you really can. And it doesn't mean you're going to be a saint when it happens. You're going to get angry. You're going to lash out sometimes. I've been practicing for, I don't know, over 20 years, something. And I'll still occasionally get angry. I'll still mess up. I'll still make mistakes, but I don't take it too seriously or personally because I'm partly a human body. The human body, like the bird flies in the sky, eats worms. The human body is very sensitive with thoughts, feelings, and emotions. It's what we do. And we've all noticed it by now. Everybody we've ever known since we were babies, how do their emotions go? Up, down. 1 minute they're happy, 1 minute they're sad. 1 minute they're angry, 1 minute they're this. And they think by chasing things in the physical realm that they'll get something that stabilizes that. But nothing in the physical realm will stabilize that. If anything, it makes it worse. The only thing that will stabilize that is realizing that it's okay, it's natural. It's a part of life. And we look at people like the Buddha or Jesus, it's like we're all dogs and we're chasing our tail. You know, the dog that chases its tail, you ever see that? And when dogs chase their tail, in their mind, you could almost imagine they think, oh, I'm going to get something. I'm going to get a big prize once I catch its tail. And they don't even know it's their own tail. That's why humans find it humorous, why they find it amusing, because the dog is so silly and stupid. But that's how all of us are. We're chasing our own tails, chasing enlightenment, chasing satisfaction through money and wealth and status, chasing. And we admire and we recognize the truth of the Buddha and Jesus because they stopped chasing their tail. Like, how are they so happy? Don't they know they got a tail they could be chasing? What secret, what magic do they possess? And they don't even need to permanently stop chasing their tail. The Buddha and Jesus can still chase their tail, but the difference between Buddha and Jesus and us or other people, maybe not us, but other people, is they know that it's their own tail, and they know that if they chase it, it will only be for fun, for sukha, for joy. Not because they're taking it seriously, like, oh, my tail. They know it's their tail. They know it's just a game, and they like to chase it once in a while for fun, whereas the rest of the world is not aware that it's their own tail. They think they're chasing something relevant, but they're really just driving themselves nuts, and a lot of people suffer because of that chasing mindset. So if you want to be like the Buddha, you want to be like Jesus, realize that all this chasing, all this desire can be sometimes fun, but if we take it too seriously, take it too personally, have too much attachment to these things, then it can cause dukkha for us. It can cause dissatisfaction. And who wants that? You know, I don't want that.
Yeah, I would say that most of that chasing, it's due to trauma, and well, the way I was taught, just to start my point, to explain my point here, the way I was taught was like, I was taught to always go to the sources and read the main books of the main religions, and what I found from that is like, a few of them say that the ultimate happiness comes from contentment, and which is good to know that. But I like what I feel the need. It's like to analyze a bit the source of my discontentment, and what I find is that it comes from trauma, because there are situations in our lives when we really need to move. You know, when we are suffering and we need to make a change and move. But then life settles and we are better. And due to trauma and fear, we keep chasing and wanting and chasing and wanting. And that's terrible, really. And I think it's important to understand that the trauma and the fear, and stop it, because it makes no sense in the moment, And I really do believe that contentment, but I need to understand the thing. Like, if not, I'll just feel like I'm parroting something, want to believe in something, but I need to understand to make it, to deeply accept it and make sense and build upon that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a really important point you just made. I can get caught up in this. Everybody who even attempts to talk about the Dhamma can get caught up in this. So we'll repeat a lot. We're like tape recorders. We'll repeat what we hear. But you made a good point. You have to find it in your own heart and really get a grasp on it and be like, holy shit. Then you can express it so much more freely, so much more wonderfully. And ironically, anybody can do this, because a lot of people, they explore Theravada, they explore Zen, they explore the Dhamma, Buddhism, because they want, like Dhammarato says, they want to get it right. I want to be right? We're humans. We all, especially in the West, we've all been taught, be right. That means you're the best. But this is telling us we don't need to be right. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to not have an opinion. See, the mindset that gets into being right, not being right, middle ground, this is still just a chasing mindset. When we come back to the breath, away from the chasing mind, away from the dog, tail wagging mind, all those concepts of enlightenment, of Buddhism, of this style of Buddhism, that style, getting it right, not getting it right, all that fades away. And you find yourself just, you'd be surprised how content you could be when you just let go of all that crap. When you just come back to the breath. And like, And yeah, we have physical problems in life. You know what we do when physical problems comes? Well, God gave us a brain. We just try the best we can to solve it. Oh, I got to pay this bill. Oh, I got this health problem. Oh, my kids are doing this. Oh, I'm traveling and it's not going well. Well, what the hell else are we going to do? We attempt to solve it the best we can. But we're not God. We can't control every detail of reality. That's part of the truth. So we do what we can, and we're okay that the cards fall where they may. And with our inner stuff, we can do more. With our inner stuff, we're not obligated as much in the physical world to solve the inner problems, which is wonderful. So when the inner problems arise, we can just say, oh, hello, our old friends of anxiety, fear, doubt, frustration, attachment. It's good to see you. I know you're just a chemical in my brain. You can't hurt me. The breath is real. The breath grounds me to reality, takes me away from the past, takes me away from the future. And everything's okay here and now. Everything's fine here and now. And we don't need to be right. I'm not going to be the best Buddha teacher. I'm not going to be the best host on Skype. And that takes a lot of pressure off me when I do these things. And it takes a lot of pressure off of me in my spiritual journey, so to speak, once I realize, oh, I don't have to be a saint. I don't have to be a Buddha. I don't have to be enlightened. And in an ironic way, you become an arahant when you don't give a fuck about those terms, when you don't care about these things. When you let them go, then it's almost like somebody's playing a trick on you. Once you stop wanting the shit, then you get it. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No, it does. It does make sense. Like, the author Paulo Coelho, like
Paul?
do you know the author Paulo Coelho, like the one who wrote The Alchemist?
The Alchemist. I'm not familiar.
Yeah, but it's someone. It's a very famous writer. And
Okay.
once I was having a chat with someone and said, "Oh, I've met him. He is such a big hero." And I was like, "How could he not? Like, the man is treated like a god. How could he not?" Like, and what I felt like, I never want to be in this place. Like, the ego will lose you. Absolutely. you will be with such a fat ego that you'll get lost on the path. Everyone is worshiping you. Like, I don't want to be in that position ever in my life. So
Mm.
yeah, that resonates with me. It's like about teaching. Like I thank you for being there. I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be in your place, like, because I feel the fear of that ego, like, fattening. And it's nothing against you, Dhammarato. I'm just, telling you what I feel about that. To be exposed and to be the person who teaches spiritual stuff, I never want to be in that place. Even
Yeah,
only if
we
I
never.
have to, Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what's cool too. If you let all those vocabulary words go, all those concepts go, we're all in the same boat here. You know, we're
Yeah.
all the same. There's nobody better or worse. And the only thing we're trying to do here is trying to help each other see that the keys are in your own pocket. A lot of times we think, oh, the golden keys are in the teacher's pocket. That will free me. And the best teachers always say, no, it's in your pocket. You have the power. You're no better or worse than me or the Buddha or Jesus or anybody else or the bum on the street. We're all in the same boat. All these bodies end up as worm food.
Yep, exactly.
So there's no use getting upset or obsessed with permanence or needing to be right. I don't need to be right, and I don't need to convince anybody. But I like helping people if they want it. That's a really wonderful thing to do. And yeah, and we can all do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
And
a matter.
Dhammarato, oh, go ahead, buddy.
I just gonna say it's a matter of attitude, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all comes down to attitude. And Ajahn Chah used to say, like, if something happens in your life, just say, oh well, it's not a big deal. And you can in a way it's a magic word you can use with everything. Oh, this thing happened. Oh well. Oh, this person felt this way. Oh well. Maybe they're right. Maybe they're wrong. Who cares? You know? And it's such a release to just let all that shit go, you know? We've been playing to trying to catch the game our whole life. What has it gotten us? You know, look at the Instagram stars. Million views, a million likes, and they're on there every day, showing their whole bodies, smiling. They need more attention. You got a million people liking you. You got a million subscribers. Every day you need more validation. That's a sickness. And it's just their symptoms are more apparent than all of us. But if you're human, you have that thing inside of you that wants validation, that wants attention. It's natural. But if you don't take it too seriously, then you really start feeling a lot better.
I follow this one
Hi, bud.
Instagram page.
I didn't recognize you till recently. Good to see you, man.
Oh, what's up, man? Yeah. I follow this one
to see you.
Instagram page called Influencers in the Wild. And it's essentially people filming like influencers from the third person. So they'll be like in some public place and they'll be doing some like crazy like performance for like a couple second clip and then stop and like from the from the other person's perspective of like outside of their little clip, they look absolutely ridiculous and like it's fucking yeah, it's gotten really bad. Like people go places just for like a picture instead of
Yeah.
enjoying and they have to record what they're doing instead of like and just enjoying what they're doing. Yeah. Crazy
Yeah.
times we live in. Yeah.
Yeah. People do
Yeah.
crazy things when they're seeking that validation, that love that their parents should have gave them, but maybe didn't give them. And yeah, it's like once you understand the algorithm, it's the navigating the waters of reality are a bit more easier to do when you understand that. What I always ask myself since I was young, like, what's my motivation? but I ask it honestly and earnestly. What's my motivation? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And a big part of my life has been arrogance, status seeking, attention, for all the same reasons anybody else does. Insecurities, wanting love, wanting adoration my parents didn't give me. Who doesn't have that? Even if you're raised in a perfect family, sometimes they give you too much adoration, then you become fucked up in an opposite way. You know, so we're all in the same boat and we're just doing the best we can. Well, you know, what do I know? Yeah.
How do you, so Dhammarato, like, you know, talks about doing nothing, right? Just do nothing. So there's nothing you need to fix. There's nothing, and I definitely get all of that from especially with your mind and you know, letting problems go and stuff. But what about, like, I don't know, most of us probably, I speak for myself anyway, like I have to live in that world. I'm an entrepreneur, right? So I can't even like just check out. If I check out of my job and just show up and pick up a paycheck, we'll be out of business. So like it's not an option really to just check out and just to not care. And I know if I lose that hunger to whatever, grow sales, then if I lose that hunger, we're basically gonna, you know, fold. And then I've got people that we're employing and stuff like that, right? So anyway, that's my personal situation. But I'm sure for someone else, it's like they've got targets they've got to meet. They've got we're all faced with that, right? Yeah, it's, you know, part of me is like, I'd love to just retire in Thailand, right, on an island and just but I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile that, like the Buddhism and these teachings with the need to basically make ends meet and, I don't know, pay a mortgage or whatever it is, whatever responsibilities you know, or other people have?
In a way, it reminds me of what Dhammarato said the other day, where on one end, we just have to be adults and we have to fend for ourselves. If you want that high-paying job that's really stressful because you like that high-paying money, be prepared to work. Be prepared to be stressed in a lot of situations. If you don't like that so much that you want to leave it and maybe get a job that doesn't pay as much, but you have far less stress, those are the choices we have to make in life. If you want to go to a monastery, if you want to go to a Wat in Thailand, that's another choice. But I think when people ask stuff like that, who are working really hard, and I know what you're saying, I think what a lot of people try to say is like, I have to work hard. Is there a way to be happy while working my ass off? And I would say, yeah, everything's possible. You know, if you find yourself in a position where you just, I don't know, you have a kid with disabilities, you got to work your ass off. Everybody's relying on you, and you can't just fuck off to a Wat in Thailand or whatever. You can be happy and still be a slave in a way, I think. What's that one old philosopher? His name was not Seneca, but Diogenes the Cynic. He was a slave for a big part of his life, and he found a way to be happy amidst his slavery. And I think for a lot of people who find themselves in situations where they have to work and a lot of people are depending on them, you have to be an adult. If you don't want that responsibility, you can get another job that doesn't pay as much. Or if you find yourself stuck there, you can make the best of it, you know? Because no matter how hard your job is, what you're really doing from an outside observer's viewpoint, kind of like what Scott was saying with those people filming the other influencers, you're just a body walking around breathing. Yeah, you may have to pick up some heavier bricks at more difficult jobs or dig through a bigger pile of paperwork. But if you look at it from a distance, you're just a dude walking around breathing, eating, shitting like everybody else. So you can let go a lot of those expectations and enjoy your breath while you're doing your bullshit work that you hate. And try to look at it like you don't hate it. Try to look at it like it's a fun game. Try to look at it like, wow, I can do this horrible job and not give a fuck at the same time. You say, oh, but if I don't give a fuck, I'll get fired. You know, it's all uncertain. I don't have all the answers for the future and people's money situations, but all I can say is, if you find yourself in hell, try to whistle and sing while you're working in hell. Try to open up a Zen school in hell, like Master Shung Sen said. If I'm in hell, I'll open up a Zen school. So try to do the best you can. That's the only input I got on that. I don't know if anybody else has input they want to give on that.
For what it's worth, I have just like my 2 cents. So like the you mentioned like not being able to check out of your the problems that you're solving for your entrepreneur job. And well, you don't have to check out like for an entire day or like prolonged periods of times, but I'm sure you can find 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, like throughout the day, where it's like, okay, for this, I'm working myself up into a stressful tension, a state of tension that's not really conducive to problem solving. And like, I'm sure you can allocate yourself at least 10 minutes where you're not gonna think about anything. You're not gonna think about any of your problems or not going to try to solve any problems. But like so it's like you could check out for at least 10 minutes, I mean, I'm sure that's not going to ruin your job. But and like with the chances are, like a lot of times if you manage to fully check out for those 10 minutes, you'll probably come back refreshed to whatever you're trying to do. But that's just my 2 cents.
Good points, dude.
Yeah, I think this idea of, like checking out 10 minutes, even 5 minutes, if you can do this along your day while you're working your ass, you will see maybe some changes about how you handle your responsibilities. Because it's, the question you asked for me was like how to do nothing. And I'm really good at doing nothing. Like, I'm lucky because I don't have responsibility right now. I'm unemployed, so it's quite easy for me. But the idea is like you do your job, you finish your responsibility, and then you can just chill, So the idea is how to find in betweens, these 5-10 minutes to, practice sati, anapanasati, and at some point it will create some kind of framework. It won't be like, like the example of people who are smoking. So usually their days are organized around, like cigarette breaks. It's not about what they're doing, it's more about when they will have this time to smoke, and it's every time this time is to smoke. And once you quit smoking, you have those small moments where you don't have this cigarette anymore. So you're like, what should I do? Well, you're just going to keep doing your thing without having this bad habit, leading your day. So you can see it as the opposite with anapanasati. It's like you're going to have those 5 breaks of anapanasati, like smoking anapanasati. And it will create this, huh?
I was going to say, maybe I can take up smoking.
Yeah.
Good.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm not going to talk about that one, but yes.
Right? Like one good, one bad. Take up smoking, but start meditating more.
have a smoke break.
That was a
Just
good
smoke the air.
I see my practice as, like a framework in my day, which is a base of anapanasati, and in between short sessions, I just do what I have to do, which is most of the time not doing anything, but which could be the same when you're working, because at some point it's like, oh, I have to do this, that's my responsibilities, because at the end I have to get money, I have, like to provide for people, I have a project, whatever. So yeah, I think it's only like how you put things first, the perspective of it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And people
smoking.
smoke like 20 cigarettes a day, don't they? So why can't you do 20
Yeah.
little sits a day?
And 5 minutes, it's so
Yeah.
powerful when you really
Yeah,
just relax,
exactly.
breathe, and just, enjoy this moment. And then you kind of fresh and you go back on what you have to do.
It is anapanasati, smoking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we
If
don't
you
think of it
really
that way,
enjoy
but that's what it is.
smoking,
Yeah, that people are addicted to like, yeah, they're addicted to like the actual chemical of the nicotine high and stuff, but like a big part of the addiction is the,
Yeah, the
breathing in
ritual.
and then having that, like tactile experience of
Yeah.
like getting in the actual what it's like to breathe in a cloud of smoke and blow it out. So yeah, if you
Yeah.
can become interested in like the tactile sensations of your own breathing, then you can kind of, get your mind into a state of absorption around, the present moment rather than all the neurotic stories that you're creating about yourself, and
Hmm.
judgments that you're making that are like causing all kinds of like dualistic illusions and whatnot.
Hmm. Yeah, he's right. I used to smoke for like 16 years, and ironically, when I do get stressed and I come back to the breath and kind of try to gladden my mind in the moment, it does feel like a little smoke break, and it gives me that same feeling of just peace, just chilling in nature, like, oh, my wife said this or this thing happened with my son. Sometimes I'll just sit in my car, drink my coffee, and just focus on my breath. And it's really amazing how it can change things for the better.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
another part of the psychology of a smoke break is that on their smoke break, they're not going to be doing anything else than smoking. Like that's the idea of the smoke break. Like they're
yes,
just like
they will be worried. They
yeah,
will be
so it's like
worried and
for yeah.
feeling.
So for this amount of time, all I have to do is smoke. Like that's the idea of meditation. For at least or like formal, I guess. For at least this allocated period of time I've set aside, I don't have to worry about anything else for at least this period of time. I've got all my ducks in a row that I'm like for example, you're able to sit on this call, right? For about an hour. So for at least this hour, all you're doing is this call. So for at least this whatever time I'm able to set aside, all I'm doing is meditating. And if I think about trying the past or the future, you go, wake up, remind yourself, nope, actually for this time I'm just chilling. There's nothing else
Yes.
that I need to do.
Well said. Yeah, well said.
Thank you.
And we're not too hard on ourselves, It's like, e- even if we mess up, even if we have a rough day, it really does do to dwell on what Ajahn Sumedho said. Don't take your life so personally. Don't take these things so seriously. We all have childhood trauma. We all have bad days. We all have this. But like Dhammarato says, like when you don't take yourself so seriously, when you don't take life so personally, even on the bad days, in a way, you transform even the bad days into good days when you're like, so what? So what? I felt like shit today. Of course I did. I'm a human. There's going to be some days where I feel like shit. If humans felt blissful all the time, that wouldn't be a human. That would be some robot. You know what I mean? Humans love feeling good because it is rare sometimes. And when we feel like shit and we could be okay with that, in a way, it is like feeling good all the time, no matter what happens. No matter if like this one Hindu saint said, who cares even if heaven falls from the sky, you'll be peaceful. And like Ramana Maharshi says, whatever may happen, just remain calm. The secret to life is just trying to remain calm in all situations. So you may get sick. Okay. So you may have this thing repossessed because you didn't pay a bill. Okay. All you really can control is in the physical reality, you do the best you can, but you don't sweat the small stuff, and everything is small stuff. Our suffering, our dissatisfaction, it's all caused by wanting things to be different than the way they are. if we could learn to be chill, to be cool with things as they are, then there's no real problems. There's just little things we have to do once in a while. That's really no sweat at all. Yeah. I know we say it a lot, but really it is as simple as don't worry, be happy. And even if you're not happy, that's okay too. Good enough is okay. And then those moments of baby dukkha's, they come and go just like the clouds. It's no big deal. I try to focus on just the Four Noble Truths. Throughout my day, even when I'm doing walking meditations and stuff like that, I always remind myself of the basics. Like one of my favorite MMA fighters, Bas Rutten, said, so many modern day young fighters would be better if they focused on the basics, the jab, the cross, the side punch, the front kick, the uppercut. Go back to the basics. And that's where the strength is. That's where the power is. And that's why the Buddha kind of concentrated on it. Like Dhammarato always says, both formerly and now, all I teach is dukkha, dukkha, nirodha. We know what the cause of dukkha is. It's wanting shit we don't have. It's desiring too much stuff. So when we let it go, when we say, fuck it, okay, I'll try the best I can. I may get sick. This may not turn out how I want it. It usually doesn't. So fucking be it. Bring it on. You know, I'll deal with it as it comes. That's what every man, woman, and child has had to deal with in the physical reality. They try the best they can and they deal with the shit the way the cards fall. Thinking you can control anything in this life other than your perception, the way you handle things, your attitude, it's an illusion. You can only control your attitude, your mind, how you perceive things.
Yeah.
You know, there's some good people that some really bad physical shit happens to. There's some real pieces of shit out there who get everything they ever dreamed of. I don't know why it's that way. It just is. And everywhere in between and everything in between. So it's nothing personal. It's just leaves falling off a tree. They fall in different ways. Some land on rivers, some land in piles of shit. It's nothing personal. God didn't say this leaf is going in the pile of shit. This leaf is going in a beautiful river. No, it's not personal. There's no God there demanding where everything goes. It just happens. And if believing in a God put everything in just the right order, believe that if it makes you happy. You know, believe anything you want if it gives you some satisfaction and you're not hurting anybody else or yourself. Spin on a unicycle with incense in your hand if you want to. Do whatever. whatever makes you personally happy. And then when you get to that place where you're like, oh, this is happening, then you'll be able to talk about it so freely, so loosely, and then the compassion naturally arises. You know, everything naturally arises. And talking is a bit overrated anyway. Sometimes I even like dread doing these video calls because it's like the real truth is in silence, not just of the mouth, but of the mind and the heart. You know, when you're going out your day and you come to that breath, there's no Buddhism. There's no thing called a Dhamma. There's no right. There's no wrong. Who gives a shit? When you're silent, nature reveals itself to you. Truth reveals itself to you. And the truth is, you don't need to pick or choose or be or become or like or dislike anything. That's the truth. So do what you got to do and come back to the silence, and you live in a beautiful life. You live a simple, beautiful life. Yeah. Well, that's all I got, dudes. Does anybody else want to talk about anything before we go?
It's good to see all you guys.
Totally. Good
Thanks
to
for
see
coming.
you too, dude.
Yeah, man.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet all of you.
You've already met me. It's me,
Huh?
Scott.
You look
Scott?
different with a hat on, Scott.
I'm wearing a hat, so maybe you don't recognize me. Scott, you know? Never mind. All right.
Well, much peace and love to everybody. Anybody else have anything they want to say before we go?
Yeah, just be happy and smile.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Thank you all for joining.
Yeah, thanks.
It's been wonderful.
Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
All right.
Bye, dudes. Much peace and love.